The Pocky and Rocky series began life as Kiki KaiKai, which was released in arcades in 1986. It was adapted into a console series starting with 1992's Pocky Rocky and was a top-down shooter following Shrine Priestess Pocky and her Tanuki friend Rocky. This new Reshrined version is a remake of that 1992 game and has just released on the Nintendo Switch. Does it shrine bright, or is it a rocky ride? Well, I'm Glen Bolger, thank you to the publishing team for the review code, and now let's find out. The story revolves around Shrine Priestess Pocky, who has previously saved the 7 gods of fortune and returned the land to peace. She is visited by her friend Rocky, who informs her that his monster friends have begun to act strangely once again and have even attacked him. This leads to 8 stages of trying to restore peace by battling against a number of enemies from Japanese mythology. Now, this is a remake of the original Pocky and Rocky, and I have heard that it does deviate from the original game in quite a few ways, to the point where it almost feels like a new entry, although never having played the original, I cannot comment on how accurate this statement is. So Pocky and Rocky Reshrined is essentially a top-down shooter. You have free movement across the screen whilst killing enemies and will then move on through the set path of each stage. Screens are full of enemies, some of whom will make a beeline towards you in order to cause harm, some will follow a set pattern and others will fire projectiles at you. This leads to times of complete carnage as you attempt to dodge bullets and enemies, and should you lose all of your heart, you will lose a life. Losing a life will see you resume exactly where you fell, although losing all of your lives will require you to use a continue and have to restart the stage at hand once again from the beginning, and you can post your scores at this point to the online leaderboard. You fire your standard weapon by pressing Y and can pick up power-ups, each with their own power types, and picking up more than one of the same power-up will increase the potency of the shots. This will only get you so far, however, as some enemies take multiple hits and can reach you before you dispatch them. To assist you with this, you have a couple of other moves, with the first being the ability to deflect enemies' attacks back at them by pressing the B button. This also acts as a melee attack when close to an enemy, and this move becomes essential at times when things get hectic or in order to progress past certain parts of boss attack sequences. Along with this, you have a finite number of special attacks that will clear all enemies within the parameter of that attack, as well as a dash move that allows you to cover ground at pace and get yourself out of a pinch when needed. You'll learn a few other moves as you go through, and these take a little more mastery and can be very effective when trying to hit multiple enemies. All of these abilities will be called into action owing to the level design, which contains points where you'll be funneled into tight spaces. These include tunnels or being stranded on a raft. It means the game is as much about precision movement as it is accuracy. Even with this though, I did feel as if there were times when avoiding certain attacks felt almost impossible due to the claustrophobic nature of some of the sections, plus it was also quite easy to dash off the side of a stage and fall to your death amidst the on-screen pandemonium. Destroying enemies will see them drop coins, and these can be spent at vendors at certain parts in a level. Hitting one of them will see a Wheel of Fortune type situation occur, with a power up of some description being the reward. Coins are also used to unlock other game modes as they accumulate across your various runs. For example, 10,000 coins will unlock free mode, where you can choose any level and play in multiplayer should you wish, although you can also unlock this mode naturally by completing story mode. You can also choose your character here rather than having the story dictate who you play as at each point. 3,000 coins will unlock easy mode for those who are struggling. Now I must say I don't really understand having to unlock easy mode, and unless there was a very easy way to farm coins I managed to miss, by the time I'd completed the game I only had 2,300 coins. I feel the decision to lock away easy mode is really quite ludicrous, and I also would have rather played the actual story mode in multiplayer rather than having to finish the game first before I can play with a friend. Nonetheless, gameplay is a lot of fun with tight level design and a good level of challenge. A few choices in terms of what you need to unlock did have me scratching my head, but gameplay gets 16 out of 20. Controls do feel tight, although it is sometimes a little awkward to get into a diagonal position. I found the D-pad better than the stick for these as it turns out, and on the whole, they get 17 out of 20. In terms of the visuals, as with the Super Nintendo original, Reshrined adopts a pixel art style, and whilst it would be easy to dismiss it as being essentially the same game again in the graphics department because of this, looking at the two games side by side is where you'll really notice the differences. Water and lighting effects are so much more nuanced in this remake, background scenery, especially in the stages that take place high up, includes so much more detail, and the character sprites, especially for boss encounters, are so much grander in scale that they really do accentuate the sense of urgency and danger at these points. In short, the pixel art really is quite beautiful. I did find a few occasions where it was difficult to differentiate between a stage hazard and the path forward, and there were a couple of occasions of slight slowdown, but it wasn't a huge issue and never really detracted from the enjoyment I had. It might have been nice to have had a way to switch between the original and the reshrined graphical style, but seeing as they were both pixel art, it's not a huge loss. It would perhaps have helped though to show the upgrade it's received. The audio is also of a very high standard and definitely helps to highlight the charm and rumbustious nature of the gameplay. Each level is very easy on the ear, and even the sound effects, which equate to hearing a lot of shooting sounds as you would expect, never grate on you and feel like a natural part of the package. Cutscenes play between stages, and whilst they're well drawn and detailed, they did go on a little too long for me, plus there didn't seem to be a way to speed them up. You could either skip them completely or have to sit through them. Visuals are crisp, clean and incredibly well drawn. They are a very good example of modern pixel art and they score 18 out of 20. Audio is of a similar quality and complements the gameplay very well, and therefore also scores 18 out of 20. Pocky and Rocky Reshrined cost £26.99 and regional equivalents are on your screen now. As well as the digital option, you can pick up both standard and special edition physical releases. The standard I have seen on some online retail sites for about £25, so cheaper than the digital version, whereas the special edition can be ordered via Strictly Limited Games. I think it took me around 3 hours to finish the story mode, but then you have the new unlocked free mode, complete with that local multiplayer, and the online leaderboards where the vast majority of the longevity will be based for high score chasers. As well as this, there was one more character that I did not unlock, so there is a bit more to do there, and just the high standard of gameplay and the pixel art means that you could certainly argue a case to justify the price. If you aren't concerned with high scores or want co-op straight away, it is a little harder to justify, and personally I would be waiting for that physical to drop by about another £5. Still, it's a very well crafted game, and on balance, value gets 13 out of 20. To conclude, Pocky and Rocky Reshrined is a fantastic reimagining of a well-loved game, and I thoroughly enjoyed making my way through the hectic levels. It's a very different type of shooter, and the online leaderboards add that essential ingredient to such games. The bizarre choice made for unlocking the easy mode and the fact that you cannot play in multiplayer until you've finished the game do harm the overall package for me, but looking past this, it's still a great time and well worth picking up if you have any love for the series or the genre. Pocky and Rocky Reshrined gets a SwitchUp score of 82%. Thank you everybody for watching this review, I hope you enjoyed it. Please do remember to leave a like if you did. A quick thank you to our Patreons as always for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.